Okay, I'm ready. Well, as soon as Tammy says she's ready, you're good to go.
Okay.
Just put in my earphones to make sure we're recording here. Okay, go.
Okay. Well, we'll go ahead and call the meeting to order. And Tammy, would you do the roll call, please?
I will certainly do the roll call. Mr. Cadwalader.
Here.
Mrs. Cole.
Here.
Mr. Gross.
Here.
Mrs. Hanks.
Here.
Mrs. Humphrey. Mr. Laswell.
Here.
Mr. Sherwood.
Here. Okay. We'll move along to public participation. Gina, is there anything that
I did
you've
not
heard?
receive any public participation emails, and I do not see that we have any public attending.
Okay. All right. That was pretty simple. We'll move along to the agenda review. Does anybody have any modifications to tonight's agenda? All right. Moving right along, we will go down to the consent agenda. Need a motion need a motion to the approval of the minutes of the March 30th meeting and the approval of the bills.
So moved. This is Ron.
Okay. And second,
I'll second. This is Ellen.
Thank you.
anybody have any questions? Okay. Seeing or hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Okay, motion carries. And Ron, we'll turn it over to you for the treasurer's report.
I don't have anything to add over and above what's already in the packet, obviously, unless Amy has anything else to add. I don't have anything to add to it.
Nope, we're good.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll move along to Gina and the director's report.
My director's report was in your packet. If you have any questions about the items in there, please let me know. I have a couple things to add. So I did send you an email shortly before the meeting that had some comments from Phil Lenzini and HR source regarding the executive order. Obviously, that hasn't been finalized yet. They're working off of draft language, but I thought I would share that with you as well. Rails, the library system that we're in, is working with the Institute of Museum and Library Services, which is basically like the federal overarching organization that governs libraries and museums, and they're funding federally, in a lab in Ohio to do some additional research and developing like science-based recommendations regarding material handling and movement and sharing of materials during the pandemic. So I don't know exactly, I don't have a firm timeline as to when they're going to be releasing those, but I know they are working double time to get that information out to try to have some science-based information specifically regarding library materials. Also, as of tomorrow, we'll be revising our due dates on the materials that are checked out. We have about 10,000 items or so that we could up to about 10,000 items that we could potentially see back when we can receive materials again. So with the anticipation for the extension of the stay-at-home order, we revised the due dates to the end of June, as well as any cards, patron cards that would expire February through May. Tomorrow we'll be moving them to the end of June. So, did you have any questions about my director's report?
No, I didn't.
Okay. Statistics are also in there. Statistics are kind of a, crazy thing right now, considering, we weren't open half the month, so they're in there. If you have any questions, let me know. I did move the database usage that says it's 1,000 and it's under April. Did get moved back to March. It just kind of got put in the wrong spot, but I noticed it after Tammy PDF'd it, and I wasn't going to make her resend it all out just to move one number. So that's fixed for next time.
Okay, all right, thank you very much. And we'll move along to the action items. Action item 2020-0401, approval of Clifton Larson Allen as the auditor. And we need a motion.
So moved. Colleen.
And second?
I'll second, Mark.
Okay. All right, Gina?
This is the time of year where we just select our auditor. We've used Clifton Larson Allen for several years. They've always been very easy to work with. We've never had any major issues with them that I'm aware of, at least since I've been director. It doesn't seem like perhaps even if that was something that we wanted to change, that perhaps this isn't the best year to try to do that.
Yeah.
So the price didn't go up at all this year. It's the same as last year. And I have the engagement letter here. If the board approves it, which I'm assuming they will, but if they do, Al and I have already spoken and he's given me permission to sign his name and initial it with my initials under the president's line as well, so that we can get it back without having to play paper jockeys.
Will the time frame that they have to prepare, will that change because of the pandemic, or?
I don't believe so. We won't really, we're signing the engagement letter now, but I don't think Tammy will have to start doing pre-work until July.
Yeah,
And we
I'll
don't-
send out
we
the
don't see
letter.
them until August. So
Okay.
unless there would be
Okay.
some reason that we can't have two auditors in the building in August, I don't really foresee this messing with
Mhm.
the timeline.
I'll send out my letter in May like I always do, requesting dates, and I usually give them 2 or 3 weeks to choose from in August, and they'll get back to me with the week that works for them.
When
Okay.
they come, they kind of set up here in the boardroom. They kind of camp out in here, easy access to the file room and all that, and they have their own workspace and things like that. So there shouldn't be any. I don't anticipate any changes to that schedule.
Okay. If anybody has any other comments or questions, all in favor of the approval of Clifton Larson Allen as auditor, signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. Opposed? Okay. The motion carries. And we'll go to the second action item, 2020-0402, approval of emergency FMLA and emergency paid sick leave policy due to COVID-19. And we need a motion.
So moved. Ron?
Okay. And second?
I'll second it. This is Colleen.
Thank you.
Thank you, Colleen. All right, Gina?
Okay.
You.
So as explained in my director's report, the Families First Coronavirus Response Act is obviously a federal act that was passed. So this is the law. What this policy is how our leave policies will we intend for our leave policies to interact with this law. So I received a template per se, HR source, and then went through. I basically added in there that it was similar to how it like how our current leave policies are, as in they have to use for the paid sick leave, they have to be given the option to whether they want to use paid time off with it to go from 2/3 to 100% pay. For the emergency FMLA, that was the library's choice as to whether we would like them to use their paid time off in conjunction with that or not. I have proposed here that we require them to. That is similar to our other leaves that we provide, our medical leave and our general leave. We require them to use their PTO first in conjunction with those leaves. So that's why I put it in there that way. Do you have questions for me? It's clear as mud, I'm sure. It took me a while to wrap my head around it, particularly in that we do not normally have any FMLA eligible employees. However, under the Emergency FMLA Act, it's basically if you have two employees, like our employees qualify for this emergency FMLA just for the child care reasons.
Has there been any hints of how soon, possibly just far out possibility that the a facility like our library would open?
Well, in the email that I had just sent before the meeting, not that I meant to set it that close, but that's when I got that information.
Mhm.
It does not appear in Phil Lanzini's eyes that the extension of the executive order would change anything from how we are currently operating. It does not sound, in his opinion, as if like the status of libraries, we're not a retail store per se. That under the current verbiage, the draft verbiage, that he wouldn't expect that the executive order changes would then allow us to do curbside or delivery. It sounds like we are still not allowed to do that. So that's all the information I have right now.
So it looks like through the end of May at least,
Yes.
like
Now,
just a continuation.
yeah, whether there's anything in that draft that would allow, some to come back into the building a little more or something like that, I don't know. I'm not really sure. But the question that was asked that he provided his opinion on was specifically curbside. So
Okay.
we do have one employee who will be taking both the emergency paid sick leave and a portion of the emergency FMLA as long as they're still eligible. They would continue to be eligible as long as they did not have their regular daycare option and there was no one available to watch their child. There is the potential for others as well. So, depending on how many tap into this too, that may put some interesting decisions as to how many people we have to run the place. But
Right.
I don't think it'll be a ton. But it's not that we're passing this policy just because we have to. This is an act that is being used. So.
Okay. Anybody else have any questions? Okay, all in favor of as it's read, the approval of the emergency FMLA and emergency paid sick leave act, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? And motion carried. And we're just about done. Does anybody have any closing comments or anybody have anything they'd like to bring up? Doesn't sound like it. We get to move our next meeting to May 18th, a week earlier than usual. So I guess I need a motion to adjourn tonight's meeting.
Motion to adjourn.
And second?
I'll second it.
All right, well, see you all same time in about 3 weeks from now. So thank you very much and hope everybody's weathering the storm. And
That was Ron and Gary, right?
Ron first,
Yes.
Gary second.
Gary.
Yes.
Okay.
And please feel free to contact me. Hi, Kitty again. Please feel free to contact me if you have any questions. You can email me, you can call my cell, whichever. I'm pretty much around.
Perfect.
all right.
All right.
Thank you very
Good
much,
night,
everybody.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Good night.
Thank you.
Gina?
Bye.
Bye.
Gina? Oh.